Well, hello folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC, and this is the DURAFly Tundra version 3 in the Inspire livery. What we're going to do is I've got an AR630 Spectrum receiver. I've got her put in safe mode right now. I'm going to give you a safe demonstration with a decent amount of wind. As you can see, my shirt is coming down the runway, so that's good. It's down the runway. We're going to do a safe demonstration, take off in safe, land in safe, and then we'll switch to the AS3X or wind mitigation after that. But I want to show you that you can take a very powerful aerobatic plane, which is what this is, and safely fly it around with safe. Just so you know, in case you're not aware, SAFE stands for Sensory Assisted Flight Envelope. Just so you know, and that's the Spectrum brand. Okay, I'm going to leave it in safe.
Motors armed.
My timer is set for 6.5 minutes. We're just going to fly a couple of patterns around with safe. Now, I personally don't like safe. I mean, safe is the reason I was able to get into the hobby for me, but I don't like not having full control. But the purpose of safe is to keep the plane level so that you won't turn it or get into an attitude with the plane that's unrecoverable, or it won't turn on upside down for you, basically. All right, and this is also showing that you don't have to buy an E-flite or some Horizon Hobby brand and not have and be able to have a self-leveling aircraft by using their receivers. All right, here we go. It is windy. Oh, I can barely move this plane. I mean, it's great for a beginner. My hands are off. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn around.
Time remaining 6 minutes.
And we're going to come back towards me. Okay, into the wind. And honey, yes, you got the plane, but look at my hands real quick. Now we'll go back to the plane. See? That just shows you that you can be a beginner and get a plane that's very aerobatic and very capable, like the DURAFly Tundra, and safely fly it as a beginner and learn how to fly. This is a great beginner plane, especially if you use a self-leveling gyro. Now let's land it. Reducing my throttle, I'm going to line up with the runway. Use a little bit of throttle input. Okay, a little bit of power.
Time remaining 5 minutes.
A little bit of power, scaring the birds there. All right. Keeping my wings level. A little bit of power, a little bit of power. Letting the throttle control my sink rate. What lands your plane is your throttle. People think it's your elevator. No, it's your throttle. Tell you what, just in case, because I'm sure I was in the way of the landing, let's go ahead and get around there one more time and do another pattern in safe again. Okay. And just so you know, I don't, here it is, it's the 31st of May 25. I didn't check the Hobby King website if this is in stock now, but understand, you know, June, Christmas, Black Friday, all it's going to be coming up, and you know Hobby King's really good about getting stuff stock right before Christmas and Black Friday time. Are taking off, just a little bit of power, just a tiny bit of elevator pressure, just so you know the principle of it. Taking off. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut the pattern a little bit shorter here. I've got full right stick, and I cannot, right aileron, and I can't get that model to turn over. It's going to self-level. See, that's as far as I can go right there. It's self-leveling no matter what I do, which is perfect for the beginner. It gives the beginner time to think, and it'll save his investment. He won't get so discouraged so easily. All right, now it's very windy. And when you have safe on, you also have the AS3X wind
Time
mitigation
remaining 4 minutes.
working with it also. Okay. Little bounce there, but that's okay. All righty. Now that was 2 landings and two takeoffs, 2 landings, and safe. Now I'm going to switch the model
AS3X mode.
to AS3X or wind mitigation. All right. I'm going to use my takeoff flaps, and we're going to take off right there. Okay.
Flaps up.
All right. Show you what this model is. Oh, sorry. Show you what this model is capable of doing. Wind mitigation is still in, but self-level is not, and here's proof. If safe was on, I would not be able to do that. I would not be able to turn it upside down. I gotta tell you, I am very, very impressed with this model. I was comfortable with it from day one, from the first time I got it. Now I have modded one thing. The stock wheels that come with it, they have the big white lettering that say DURAFLY on the side. They're cool looking, but they're hard. So what I've done, I just removed those screw-on nuts, okay, and I've got E-Flight timber tires on there, and that's just what I did. Hopefully Hobby King won't be too mad at me, but this is my plane. Well, let's go out here. Full up elevator. Well, you're going to go in the grass there.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
All right, we're going to get turned around. We're going to take off in the grass. We're going to do what you call walk the dog. And what that is that's where I'm running on the ground with my tail up with only my mains touching. See? I'm going to take it up. Safe is definitely not on. Decent amount of down pressure needed to hold inverted, but this plane does have a little bit of hedral, and what that is that's how the wings turn up on either end, that kind of angle up. That's called the hedral. Helps keep a plane very stable. This plane's got just the right amount. You know what, we're supposed to land in the grass, aren't we?
Time remaining 2 minutes.
All right. This is a very, very fast plane. Can be very fast. Now I don't remember. I do not remember. I know I did a speed test on, and she'll run on 3S or 4S. So don't think you have to get a 4S battery. You can run her just fine on 3S. She's not quite as quick, not as quite as powerful, but be great for a beginner on 3S. There, walk the dog a little bit. All right, you want to take it up now?
One minute.
Just about had her hovering there. All right. See if we can't walk the dog down the runway. Very capable plane. Very capable.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Twenty seconds.
Little knife edge there. All right, we didn't got too much of a bounce, so it's a pilot-induced stall.
Timer expired.
All right.
Braking.
Oh yeah, it's got reverse thrust too.
Prop secured.
Okay, prop secured because you don't want to cut your finger off touching your model and going down to the emergency room and having to explain why you hurt yourself on your toy. All right, before we go any further, let me show you the placement. There's a very handy receiver hatch right there, and in there sideways is, I hope you can see it, is an AR630 Spectrum antennaless receiver. Okay, I got it this way. You go through the forward program procedure, which I've got multiple forward program procedures that you can watch. If y'all ask me to, I will make a new, more modern one if you like. If people will request it, I'll be glad to do it. And let's show you that she's a top loader. Okay, nice magnetic hatch, tongue and groove. That's where I've got the 2600 4S HRB. Now, I don't remember the numbers on the plane. I want to say it's about 1 inch in as far as the CG goes, about 1.5 inches in. Basically kind of like on the wing spar, but she seems to be level right there. I did have to hold a little bit of up elevator because I think I got the battery maybe a little too far forward, but that's okay. A big high wing like this is very forgiving. You have vortex generators that you have to glue on. Each of these have to be glued on individually, and that's fine. What that does is that gives you a controllable wing at lower speeds, which is very great for a beginner. She's got the nav blinker there, green over there, red over here, and then a landing light there in the front. And like I said, the only thing I've given her a clear coat a long time ago, is I just unscrewed these hubs, slid the stock tires off, and slid these Tundra tires from E-flite on. That's all I did, and then screwed the hub back in. They're basically the same diameter, but they're softer. But the stock, I did many flights on this with just the regular wheels that came with it, and they have white lettering, so they do look better than these. And they do fine. It's just, they're a little harder, so the bounce is a little more pronounced. But if you've got a grass field, then that really shouldn't be an issue. You'll have the grass is a lot more forgiving than a hard surface like our runway here. Let me give you a battery report real quick. We were 5 seconds over on a 6.5 minute timer. Okay. I'll actually have to take the battery out because of where it's the battery versus the balance. The plane has an XT60. Now that is what this is. This yellow, small yellow connector. That's called an XT60. Now this battery is an HRB 4S, and this blue connector that you may see is considered an EC3. Okay. Don't let that, the EC3s will go into XT60s nice and secure without any issue. Just remember you put the flat side in. Flat, it lines up, well, it fits one way, but if you force it in the wrong way, you'll have a fire. So don't do that. 60%, we've still got 60%. So I'm gonna have to go up a little bit more. I want that battery further down. Tell you what we'll do, even though it's windy, I want to show how stable this plane can be, and I'm going to take it out of AS3X and fly her in manual mode, so I don't have any kind of wind gyro or any kind of stabilization at all. My fingers are in my own way here. Okay, nice, very strong battery strap in here, if I can get a hold of it. Okay. Okay, grab my hatch, and we'll just take this sucker out and have a little, we're gonna leave the timer running. I'll show you a little bit, gonna take it and put in manual mode, which means I have no kind of stabilization whatsoever.
Motors armed.
We're gonna take it out here to the grass. Whoa. Remember, we're going to have full up elevator, keep that tail planted. so that you have good purchase. Our grass is fairly recently.
Take off flaps.
Oh yes, she's got flaps too. Let's go ahead and take off again.
Flaps up.
All right. More than enough power. That's about a half throttle roll. Going into the wind now. So this is where you should be able to, she's going to get rocked around a little bit more. But it's a very stable plane. See how she's getting moved around? All right. Now, SAFE will help with that to a certain degree. I mean, not SAFE. AS3X wind mitigation will help with that to a certain degree. So let's turn AS3X on, and we're going to do that same pass into the same amount of wind here. And she should be not quite as rocked around as bad. There you go, see? I mean, she still get moved around, but it's not nearly as bad. And those of you who think that AS3X is a crutch, it is not a crutch, okay? It is not self-leveling, okay? It just helps with it helps a very light little foam plane like this fly like a much heavier, larger wooden plane and cut through the wind. Now, self-leveling's safe. I'm not saying, I don't want to say it's a crutch, but it's nice to have it there, okay? And that way, in case, even if you're an experienced pilot, you know, if bug flies in your eye, sweat gets in your eye, dust or something, and suddenly you're blinded for a few seconds, it's nice to have that switch to self-level your plane while you can clear your vision and then get back and hopefully save your aircraft. You have a much better chance of saving your aircraft. All right. There. Let's see if I can snap roll this thing. And what that is, I'm going to take it straight up at about half throttle and the inside sticks. Sorry, honey. There we go.
-3 minutes.
All right, we're now at 9.5 minutes total time flying, so our total time. Let's go ahead and land it.
Landing flaps.
And you're thinking, wait, landing flaps into the wind? You don't need landing flaps. I want to show you how incredibly stable this plane is. Just the right amount of throttle into the wind, you can almost make this thing just come at it, just float. There you go.
Flaps up.
Pilot didn't even spill his beer then. All right, let's turn around and we're going to take off again. And we're going to land like that again, but without the flaps, like I should into the wind. In the wind, you really shouldn't be needing flaps. The wind is your natural air brake. And let them vortex generators work their magic. If you're looking for your first plane and you want something you can grow with,
-4 minutes.
this is a great choice. Put yourself a nice gyroed receiver in there. And when I say a gyroed receiver, the receiver I'm speaking of, the AR630 or an AR631, or any receiver,
Prop secured.
any receiver that has a built-in gyro. And understand, when we say SAFE and AS3X, that's two separate things, okay? AS3X is strictly wind mitigation. It helps buffer you against an external force of the wind and stuff, okay? Helps keep the plane flying the way you left it, okay? In other words, the computer realizes that jostling around is not you, it is an outside force, so therefore it counteracts it, okay? That's that type of a gyro. That's a wind gyro or wind mitigation. Safe is actually self-leveling, okay? Not only is AS3X helping you with the wind, but it helps keep the plane flying straight and level and will not allow the plane to turn upside down or get into an attitude that a newer pilot would have a hard time getting out of. And it's a great way to save your aircraft. If you, like I said, something flies in your eye or something, you flip safe on, clear your vision, and then recover your investment. And then, of course, manual is no kind of gyro at all, but understand those are two different types of gyros. And if you get a receiver, some receivers just have wind mitigation in them. Some receivers also have self-leveling and wind mitigation. So just be aware, there is a distinction. All right, motor's off. We are now at 10 minutes and 6.5 minute timer, 4 minutes over. So now we're at 10 minutes and 34 seconds. All right. Yeah. Is that the way the math works? So obviously very good on battery. Very good on battery. Battery is fairly warm, which is often a sign that your battery is, getting down there. I'm going to say 38%. I'm putting my money on 38%. 33%, I'm pretty close. That's a good storage rate. Come back between 25 and 35, that's a good storage rate. 33%, I was pretty darn close. All right. Well, folks, that is my review of the Hobby King Hobby King's the seller, DURAFLY is the brand, and this is the Tundra version 3. Hobby King, you can get it at Hobby King. They may have it in the U.S. warehouse. I didn't check. It's a great flying plane. If you're looking for a good beginner plane coming up this Christmas or something, this is a great really a great choice here. You got reverse thrust, you've got lights, you've got flaps, you got plenty of power. And remember, the wheels that come with it have white lettering on them, and they're the DURAFLY wheels. And they just simply, if you want to swap them, they're just unscrew the hub, put the new ones on, screw the hub back in. All right, well, y'all have a good, and God bless y'all. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends, God is good. Keep them in the air. And that's the DURAFLY Thunder, or DURAFLY Tundra. Thank you, Hobby King. Bye, y'all. Well, hello, folks. This is Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the man cave. And before you is the DURAFLY Tundra version 3 in the Inspire livery. Very good looking plane. It's got lights pretty much everywhere on it. Got the landing light in the front. It's got the blinking blinker underneath there. Just a good looking plane. Now, you watch my video on it. Very long. It was like almost 10-minute flight. I would have gave you the report after the flight. The only thing I've modded, I've done two things to it. I've given it a clear coat of polyacrylic mid-wax, and I put on the Tundra tires. Now, there's nothing wrong with the stock tires that come with it, okay? And actually, they look a lot better than these. They got the Tundra DURAFLY tire white lettering on the side. They look really cool. The only thing is they're a hard foam, and I just don't particularly like that. They work fine. You got good suspension, but I like these softer tires. Helps with a little bit of the landing. And it's just a simple mod of just unscrewing this hub, slide the stock tire off, slide the E-Flight timber tire on, and screw the tub back in. It works fine. It's just that simple. All right, let's go over a little bit about the plane. Okay, CG on the plane is 50 to 60 millimeters back from the leading edge root. And it's right around these hubs here, where the strut attaches. See, I've got the letters written down there. Okay, I'm gonna put my fingers, just put your fingers right underneath them struts where they connect to the wing, and let this rest right there. And CG is just perfectly right there. This is a high wing, so it's very forgiving anyways. All right, let's talk about CG. Since I talked about CG, let's talk about how I got that CG. If you look in there, I've got a 2600 4S, not all the way forward, but almost all the way forward. So if you put a 2200, which is one of the recommended size batteries, I would go all the way forward, and then you should get that CG no problem. Okay. And how do you like my new setup for these videos? All right, let's talk about rates for just a second, okay? Okay, this is the first time in this studio setup with this type of thing, so bear with me. I'm learning as we go. Now, I had a time on that 2600, I was able to fly for 8, almost 10 minutes. I have had this thing, I put a 3300 4S at one time, and I want to say my marathon flight was almost 18 minutes. So my neck was killing me, okay? Let's talk about flap settings while we're on the subject. There is a mix, okay? Flaps up on Spectrum are a negative 100%. Takeoff is negative 50 with a 15% down elevator. And landing is a positive 50 with a 25% down elevator. That is by the book, and that is some big old barn door flaps. But the nice thing about it is if you look up, they're slotted. See right there? The air will go through there, so you've still got good positive control. But I love doing what I call windsurfing with this plane. I just put this plane in a nice strong wind, put them flaps all the way down, and I've actually had her flying backwards. That's a practice skill. All right, let's talk about flying rates. I only flew at my high rates.
High rates.
And I believe, let me look at all of them here. Yeah, I've got them all at 100% throws with 30% expo on all control surfaces. Okay? Oh, by the way, flap system was a 2-second deployment. On forward programming, my gyro settings, one-time gain. The gains that I fly in on roll, pitch, and yaw are 40, 50, and 60. Okay. Priorities, all at 160 on roll, pitch, and yaw. Didn't do anything with heading. And actually my gain sensitivity, sorry, was at 2 times gains. I just now saw that. 2 times gains. That's because I really got this thing dialed in. And that works really well. This is, I don't want to say it's a 3D plane, but it almost will fly 3D. Let's see. That's just how I set it, and I love the way it flies at those settings. Okay. Sorry if I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking at the big screen to see what I'm doing. So I'm not quite that spit and polish with that. So, anyways, some things about the plane that's just really cool. We talked about settings, we talked about CG, we talked about flap settings. This suspension on this thing is absolutely stellar. Okay, it's got the tension spring here, very strong struts, nice bright lights. It does come with a set of floats, and I haven't used them yet, but I'm looking forward to. If you go up here, you can install a servo and make this into a tow plane if you want to. Back here is where I've got that AR630 installed. Okay. And like I said, and she's also a top loader, so that makes that very, very easy. All in all, it's just a great plane. If you saw in the flight demonstration that the plane, you put her in safe, okay, or a beginner mode, this thing makes a great beginner plane. It really, really does. You can turn that off, fly around in manual mode. She's still very, very stable. I put her in the AS3X or wind mitigation mode, and that just helps react the wind against, because she's a very light plane. These are objects that you're seeing here. These are called vortex generators. And what these do, these help, it interrupts the flow of the air over the wing and causes literally a vortex to come over that wing, a vortex generator, and it helps lock in this plane a little more stable at slower flight, which is really great, which makes this even better for a trainer. Just all in all, just a great plane. Great beginner plane, a lot of fun to fly. I mean, if you don't want to put a gyro receiver, then fine, but she does have a lot of power on 4S. Now, if you're wanting to be just strictly a beginner plane, a 3S 2200 up to a 3000. I've even had up to a 3300. 3S in there if you want. You've got plenty of room for it. XT60 connector. I don't remember the ESC. I got it right here. It's a 40 amp ESC with the reverse function. So if you want to take advantage of everything this plane has to offer, you will need 6 channels. You're going to need 1 channel for the flaps, 1 for the reverse function, and then whatever your, now if you have a spec receiver like this, then go through forward programming, you can assign a switch. You don't need a physical port or a physical channel to run safe in the different levels of the gyro. However, if you have a different kind of gyro that does require a mode selection, then you'll need another channel for that. So then you would need you need a 7 channel then, because you have reverse function, you have your flaps, and then you're controlling the gyro. But if you get a Spectrum receiver like the AR630 like I have installed, then you don't have to worry about that. So, all right, well there you go. And this is Fat Guy Flies RC. Right now, here it is, the 2nd or the 1st of June, 25. Presently in the U.S. warehouse, this is out of stock right now. However, you know, here in a few months, we're going to have November, we got Black Friday and Christmas. You know Hobby King is going to bring this back. This is one of their most popular high-wing trainer style aerobatic planes they sell. So you know they're going to bring it back, get it back in stock. And I want to say she runs about $240. I'll have a link for the purchase. It is an affiliate link, I ain't gonna lie to you, for the purchase link in the description of the video. Use that link, don't use this link, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to make sure you get the right plane. But when this comes available, just keep an eye. And this is a great plane, great starter plane on 3S, a plane that offers something for every pilot, no matter what your skill level. It's there, it's got something for you. I need a script, don't I? But then it just sounds too much like a commercial, and I don't want to be like a commercial. All right, well, y'all have a good one. God bless y'all. This is the Tundra version 3 from DURAFLY. Hobby King sells it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being the best subscribers and viewers and visitors in the world that come to see this fat guy. God bless each and every one of y'all, and y'all have a good, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, keep them in the air, and Tundra version 3s. Bye-bye.